Welcome back to this episode of Cope's Corner. As always, I'm your host, Mike Copenever, aka Real Mike. You can find me at Twitter at Cope's Corner, KOPESKORNER. I'm joined here with the Periscope King of MMA himself, Mr. B, the MMA guy on Twitter. I believe it's Mr. B, the MMA guy at 1985. Is that correct, Mr. B?
Mr. B, and Mr. B, 1986. There you
Oh,
go.
1986. Sorry, bro. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
1980. I'm 1985, so I got biased when I saw the number when I saw the numbers. But
All good.
I'm stoked to be with you here, bro. We're going to be going over a big week of mixed martial arts. I'm going to start out with the Ultimate Fighter season 29 review and the finale. We'll jump into the PFL 8 main event, co-main event. Then we'll jump into the Bellator 265 main card, and then we'll jump into UFC Vegas 34, where I'll give out 2 free bets for you degenerates and the people who want to cash those bets. It's been a minute since I've been here because last week I had to take off. I was doing work for Fox for the World Pet Games down in Long Beach. So make sure when that launches for Fox, you go and look at that because we built a real sick set for those dogs, other animals that I can't talk about really to get down. So a lot of fun, but I missed all the guys and my betting in general, especially with no UFC last week. My whole life kind of just isn't the same. I don't know about you. How about you, Mr. B?
Say that again. My bad.
With no UFC, just life isn't the same, huh?
Oh no, it really isn't, man. No,
Yeah.
UFC is just pretty quiet. All the other events are pretty good, but then it's like, I wish that UFC was on. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Totally. All right.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, firstly, we're gonna jump into the UFC or the Ultimate Fighter season 29. The finale was last night, and let me
Yep.
make sure that the video's popping up for you. One second. Why is that not? Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. No, I don't want 4. Sorry, guys. Rookie with 4. All right, there we go. All right, yeah. So season 29 of the Ultimate Fighter ended last night, and it was Gilbert Urbina. He took on Tresean Gore, and man, it was just an absolute delight to see 2 OGs like this, go at it. Gilbert Urbina comes from a long line of fighters, having 2 brothers that have fought in the Ultimate Fighter and in the UFC. And then he took on Tresean Gore, who had the least experience, kind of mostly of everybody, but he's been just the most surprising and just absolutely just a beautiful specimen. Both these two really love their families, really big into God, and you could just see that with their fighting styles. But they ended up going at it, Gilbert Urbina and Tresean Gore just had everything for Gilbert Urbina. He had a left hook that just kept popping Gilbert Urbina on the chin and just ended up silencing Gilbert Urbina's night. But with that said, Tresean Gore is going to be going to the finale. He's going to be taking on Brian Battle, and that's going to be a very. Oh no, you know what? I'm sorry, Mr. B actually informed me that Tresean Gore has actually got a knee injury, and he will be taking on. Who did you say it would be, Mr. B?
He's gonna be Urbina. He'll be facing yeah,
Or it'll be
yeah,
Urbina
Gilbert
again.
Urbina. Yep.
So he'll get another chance to claim the Ultimate Fighter 29 crown. He's a real good dude, so I'm kind of glad to see him get it. If anyone was going to get it, Tresean Gore. I really did want to see Tresean Gore get it because I felt like he was going to win the title. It seemed to be his destiny. Once he talked about his grandmother coming to visit him in his dreams in one of the first episodes, I was Team Gore from the start. So I'm really sad to see that he's going to be out. And just want to say thank you to Ted Hicks for the awards, the Peace Award, the High Award. Ryan Richardson, my sponsor, Kick Your Bass on Twitter. I can't thank you enough for being here and supporting us. Lynn, thank you for being here as well. I appreciate all 58 of you live here with us, joining us for this. But like I said, that was the last episode of the Ultimate Fighter 29. And so in the finale, we will have Ricky Torrijos, who's a really, really talented dude all over the place, versus the young man Brady Highstand at bantamweight. And then Tresean Gore got pulled, and now will be Gilbert Urbina take his place versus Brian Battle at middleweight. So been a great season of the Ultimate Fighter, and if you guys haven't seen it, make sure you guys go back and do some binge watching on ESPN Plus because it has
Yep.
been fantastic, Mr. B.
Yeah. Really good, really good. I actually thought that it wasn't gonna be as good as it was, and man, I'm glad I tuned in because boy, oh boy, was
Yeah,
it something to watch? Yeah,
it was a lot like the old Ultimate Fighters, where just you were locked in every single episode, and
yeah,
so we're really cool to see Volkanovski and Team Ortega go at it back and forth too. And the cornhole challenge was also fun a couple
yeah,
episodes ago. But yeah, with that said, that was the Ultimate Fighter season 29, and that's the end of it until the finale comes, and that should actually be a lot of fun when it happens. So the next thing that we will jump into is PFL number 8. We got on to coming on Thursday, and it's going to be at 2:30 Pacific Standard Time, 5:30 Pacific Eastern 5 Pacific Eastern Standard Time. I'm an idiot. 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
yeah.
And so we're only going to do the co-main event and the main event because there's a lot of MMA and stuff for us to get into, and I don't want to bore you with the whole entire card. If there was some good action on there, then I would jump into it. But with that said, the co-main event is Brian. It's going to be Bruno
Yeah,
Henrique Capelosa. He's 12-5. He is 32 years old. He's 6'2" with a 79-inch reach. He's fighting out of Sao Paulo, Brazil. He is on a 2-fight win streak. In both fights, he's finished them in the first round. He finished Mo D. Reese, who's 8-3 with punches and a head kick in round 1. And then Ante Delija, he finished him, and he was 17-3, finished him round 1 with punches. His
yeah,
only loss on his record recently was the man himself, the myth, the Viking legend, Yuri Prochazka. I'm not even saying his name right because it's pretty vicious to say, but he lost to him in round 1. You can't really hate on Bruno for getting smoked by Yuri, can you, Mr. B?
no,
You know,
no,
Yuri's Yuri. But so he's going to be taking on Jonelle Jones. He calls himself the Beast. He's 12-6. He's 33 years old. He's 6 foot with a 75-inch reach. He's fighting out of Spokane, Washington. He comes with a wrestling base. He is on a 3-fight win streak himself. He
yeah,
fought the former UFC, I got to say vet Klitzen Abreu.
yep,
He beat him round 1 in the PFL number 6. Which
yep,
is pretty impressive to finish a vet like that when you're when you're up against the vet. And then he
yeah,
beat Cody Goodale punches round 1, who was 7-4, and then Tyler King, he won punches round 1, but he was 12-8. So the record's a little weird. It's not like full of big guys this weekend. Or guys that are just well skilled with a big record, good
yeah,
records. They're kind of padded. And then he lost to William Knight with strikes round 1. And William Knight is, as you know, has got a lot of power. So in this one, Jamal Jones, I feel like Capelosa is going to just be a little bit too much for him. Jamal Jones, he's going to need to get that double leg and get him down to the ground. And Capelosa, I feel like, is just all around a little bit better. But I'm going to say Bruno wins here. What do you say about this fight, Mr. B?
Oh man, let me tell you, Bruno has been putting people away just lightning quick. Reminds me of like the early Vitor Belfort, you know what I mean? He just comes in, blitzes, and then he's just out of there. I think he has the potential to get this done. Um, Credit to Jamel Jones though. Jamel came in this tournament as an alternate. So when he beat Clinton Abreu the way he did, I was shocked. Um, uh, even though Jones does have he has the wrestling. I'm not sure if he has the speed to go in there and really match up on Bruno. I think Bruno's gonna go and take it and make it another quick 6,
Yeah.
finish them in the first round, and then just call it a day.
Yeah, that's how I feel. It's not that Jamel Jones ain't a good athlete and a good dude and
No,
all and a good all everything. His stand-up game lacks. And if the other guy's throwing straight punches, Jamel Jones, he goes right back to his instincts, and that's wrestling, and he'll shoot in for that double leg
yep,
faster than I'd like to see him do it. I'm all for wrestling and jujitsu, but I think Jamel Jones' detriment to him is that he does not like to be hit in his chin from straight punches. And I feel like Capelosa is going to have a little bit of both and just be a little too much for him. But it is heavyweight fights. It only takes one punch. So if Jamal Jones comes in there with a big right hand that he's known for, and that it worked on when he was an amateur, he could possibly hit him, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Capelosa is just a little too experienced. But yeah, this is Mr. B. Yeah, Ted Hicks. I'm gonna have a big barbecue this weekend on Saturday for the UFC, and then the Pac-Man fight. I was wishing it was Spence, but it ended up changing. But we'll hopefully jump into that at the end. But
Right.
I appreciate the Hit of Talent Award, Ryan Richardson. You're the man, dude. Appreciate you. But the main event of PFL number 8 is obviously the queen of PFL herself, Kayla Harrison. She's taking on Gina Fabian. Kayla Harrison, she's 10-0, undefeated, 31 years old, 5'8", 66-inch reach. She's on a 10-fight win streak, fighting out of Henzo Gracie Academy, New York City. Where they have a lot of good people to roll with.
Yeah.
Caitlin Chukagian is one of the people over there that she can roll with and mess around with all day. That would actually be a decent mimicking style for Gina Fabian, but nothing like the power that Gina Fabian holds. But we'll jump into her one. Obviously Kayla Harrison, she's expected to dominate. She's won last 3 of her fights by armbar. She beat Cindy Dandoise, the flower. To me, shouldn't even be fighting. She beat her round 1. Yeah, that's pretty easy. And then she beat
Yes.
Marias ground and pound round 1. And then Courtney King, who's 4-1. She beat her round 2. So she's had a very easy way up, very padded record. And then now she's taking on Gina Fabian. Gina Fabian, she's 4-1. She's 31 years old. She's 6 foot for a lady, and she's 74-inch reach. She's on a 3-fight win streak. She's fighting at a city kickboxing, right, Mr. B?
Yeah.
So training with a lot of good guys and talent over there. She's on a 3-fight win streak, not counting the no contest. She last fought Julia Pajic, who's 3-1. So kind of a weak record. She beat her though, hook to ground and pound round 2, and then she took on Laura Sanchez, PFL number 3. She won a unanimous decision, but that girl was only 1-0. So she really hasn't fought anyone. And so for Gina seems to have some really heavy hands. She has some decent kicks, but with those kicks come the leg being easy to be taken down by a wrestler or a judo person or someone with some jitsu.
Yeah.
I feel like Kayla Harrison with her judo background, and she also has a jiu-jitsu background now, and she's gonna be keen to the leg kicks. Once the Gina throws out the long legs of a 6-footer, the shorter, stockier wrestling base to me, in my opinion, going to be able to grab the leg and take her down, turn and dump her quite easily off a single leg or a double leg or even a trip possibly, because Kayla Harrison is so effing strong. So this is a no-brainer for me. It's like, oh, no kidding, you're going to pick Kayla Harrison. Real Mike, you're a genius. Yeah, man, I just have to. I think that it's just set up for her to dominate. Yes, she's a negative 1,600 favorite, folks. That means you have to put $1,600 on her to win. That is crazy. And I mean, like I said, I'm picking her because I feel like the path is there. But I love rooting underdogs on, and so I hope Gina Fabian somehow ends up with smoking her in her chin, and we see something fun. What do you think about this matchup, Mr. B?
I kind of share the same sentiment as you, Mike. Yeah, Jenna has to come in here and play this real tactically because, Kayla Harrison is a whole machine, man. She has different ways to get after her opponents, She has her judo. She's improving her striking. We know she has the takedowns, but it's a very multiple array of takedowns, man. Whether it's the trips, the doubles, the single leg. She also has them judo throws and whatnot. It's a very you really got to get in depth to figure out a way to beat her. I'm hoping Jenna Fabian does make it an exciting fight, rocks her. If she finishes her, that would be something really, shocking based on the odds, But yeah, she said that she's prepared. Jenna said she's prepared for the fight. Kayla Harrison, she always looks ready. Should be a very entertaining fight. I hope it gets passed around.
Yeah, me too. Because then it will make it more entertaining. Because Kayla Harrison's a freak athlete when it comes to a female. She's a legit monster. Her body, her frame, her mental strength, and everything that comes with a medalist in the Olympics is just special, man. I can't push it enough. But Gina Fabian is a specimen herself. You don't often see a 6-foot woman coming in here with striking power and kicks. So I
Yeah,
hope that, like you said, it lasts more than one round and we get treated to something, exciting. But with
yeah,
that said, that is the main event for PFL number 8, and hopefully be an exciting event. So now we will jump into Bellator 265. The
yes, sir.
first fight of the night for the main card is Jonelle Lugo versus Keith Lee. Jonelle Lugo is not a lot of people are going to know about him right now. He calls himself A1. And if you love steak, you love yourself some A1. And I love myself some A1. So shout out to the nickname because it's a good one. He's 6-0, undefeated. He's only 25 years old, 5'9 with 73-inch reach. He's fighting out of Palm Beach, Florida, with a BJJ base. Um, he's on a he's like I said, he's undefeated. So his last 3 fights, he took on Caspel, who's 5-1. He beat him with a unanimous decision. Then he took on Shiler Shuto. He beat him. He was 4-0, and he beat him unanimous decision. And then another decision, he beat Cortevilius Romanus. He was 4-0. It's a crazy name. I feel like I was watching some out of Gladiator right there. Um, so with this one, Jonelle Lugo, I like this guy a lot. He moves well. He's got a real good BJJ game and striking game. I just like him all around. He's going to be taking on Keith Lee. He's the brother of Kevin Lee in the UFC. He calls himself Killa. He's 7-4. Hold on one second. Is the screen glitched for you, Mr. B?
Um,
Or no, we're good. Okay, we're good.
yeah,
Sorry,
we're
bro.
good. We're good.
I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, so Keith Lee, like I say, he's 24. Wanted to make sure because on my phone it was
No,
a glitch. Yeah, Keith Lee, 24 years old. He's 7-4. He's 5'9 with a 70.5-inch reach. He's fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada. He last took on Rafon Stotts. He lost a unanimous decision. Rafon was 14-1 though, and had a lot of XP and XP experience, and then a lot of people that he's a lot of matches to go off of. He then took on Vicenia Zani. He beat him unanimous decision, and he was 11-6. And then Sean Bunch, who was 9-4, unanimous decision. And then Leonardo Calvillo, who's 3-3 by submission round 2. So Keith Lee seems to only be good when he's the hammer, and he does not do good when he's doing the nail. I think Jonelle Lugo here is going to roll. I like him in every single way possible. He's a moderate favorite too at -280, so it makes sense. The odds makers feel like he's going to roll too. I would throw down the 280 on him to make 100. I think Jonelle Lugo is the better prospect and all-around MMA talent. What do you think about this matchup, Mr. B?
yeah, I agree with you on this one, man. Um, Keith Lee is improving a bit. You know what I mean? He has his wrestling background, but he tends to do a lot of this fight on the stand-up. And yeah, when he's the dominant guy, he seems to do good, but he doesn't really fend well against guys who are willing to, give him that pressure to fight back with him. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Lugo is that guy that's gonna really test him. Really test him. He's gonna bring that pressure. He's gonna bring that anti-wrestling and try to wrestle with him as well. We seen Keith Lee have a problem with Rafion Stotts. He also kind of had somewhat of a problem with Sean Bunch, who are two wrestlers as well. But the thing is that guy Lugo stays busy, and I think that pace, along with his skill set, it might be just too much for Keith. Just
Yeah,
too much.
I 100% agree, and I'm stoked to have you here and to have your analysis because usually it's just me spouting off for an hour straight, and then it could get super biased on how I feel. But I agree 100%. If you agree and I agree, then most likely I feel like Jonelle Lugo, he will be a great piece for parlay. Be good in your DraftKings. He would be good in a Verdict MMA if they had that for Bellator, but I believe they don't, sadly. But the next fight of the night is Marcelo Golm. He's taking on Billy Swanson. These are some big old boys. Marcelo Golm is 8-3. He's 28 years young, 6'3", 75.5-inch reach. He's fighting out of ATT, Florida. Trains with Junior Dos Santos. People over there. He gets some real good rounds in. He's on a 2-fight win streak himself. He last fought Brandon Herbert, who was only 4-1 though. He beat him arm triangle. round 2. And then DJ Linderman, who's 23-17, he beat him with punches in round 1. But that was, but that was after he had a little affair in the UFC where he got finished by Sergey Pavlovich,
yeah.
who's 12-1, lost by punches, and then Arjun Buller, who's just a wrestler, pretty much lost a unanimous decision. Tim Johnson, another wrestler, lost a unanimous decision. So he really only has big problems with wrestlers. Billy Swanson here, he called himself the Big Sexy. I don't know if he's looked at himself in the mirror lately, but he is not sexy at all. I don't know if that's just me, but I like white chocolate, but this ain't any chocolate I want. He's 4-1. He's 27 years young himself. He's 6'2". He's got no reach listed. He's on a 3-fight win streak. He's fighting out of Saudi Daisy, Tennessee. So that's the only thing cool about him is my sister-in-law lives over there. So shout out to Beth. And he's got a wrestling base. This guy's super. I mean, if you look at his picture, you can see what you're going to get. He's going to throw some big right hands, super flat-footed. He's not going to give you any kicks, any athleticism, no movement. His last fight he won, he beat a guy who's 2-6 by submission. That's not Marcelo Golm. He then fought a guy who's named Kerry Perkins, who's 0-1, and he beat him by strikes. The guy's 0-1. He was a slushy vendor at the fights. They brought him in there to fight him, man. So I'm going Marcelo Golm here. This is for him to win all day. The odds, there are no odds, which is crazy, or at least from what I'm seeing. But either way, I'm Marcelo Golm. This is him to win. He's I just feel like more experience. He's going to be a little bit bigger, way more athletic, 100% more athletic. But these are big boys. One hit on the back of the head, and things could end their night. So what do you think about this matchup, Mr. B?
Man, Marcelo Golm, just tuck your chin, man, because in heavyweight, one shot can end it all. Just tuck your chin and do what you do best, man. Play that jiu-jitsu game and just end it on submission, man. Submission and TKO. Just get that guy to the ground and handle your business. Don't try to sit there, and try to have a brawl with this guy. Nope.
Yep, there's no reason to do that. But like you said, that's why I don't bet heavyweight fights. It's kind of a rule on my show is that I have to have a real strong inkling for me to bet the heavyweights because it's just one punch that just changes the whole course of the events, and you could be just absolutely shitting bricks. I just want to shout out to almost 120 people live and the 11 awards that you guys given us. I really appreciate you guys supporting us, and thankful to have Mr. B, the MMA guy, here with me. Haven't had someone with me in a while, and it's nice to have someone else's outlook, especially like I said, I can get biased with just being me. So the next fight of the night is a great fighter. Logan Storley is going to be fighting Dante Shiro. Logan Storley is a former D1 wrestler. He calls himself the Storm. He's 11-1. He's 28 years young, 5'9", with a 71.5-inch reach. Like I said, got a wrestling base. He's fighting out of Sanford MMA. Sanford MMA has a ton of prospects right now. Just a ton of people for him to be rolling with. It's good coaching, good everything that he could ask for, especially with a wrestling base. He last fought and he lost to Amazov. He lost a split decision. Amazov was 24-0 though, folks. So he can't really blame him for the split decision loss. Not a unanimous, a split. So he possibly almost won that fight. Then he took on EJ Brooks. He won by corner stoppage, arm injury, round 1. And then Ion Pascu, he beat him unanimous decision. And so with this fight here, Logan Storley's fighting Dante Shiro. Dante Shiro is 8-2. He's 6 foot. The reach is not listed. He's on a 2-fight win streak. He's fighting out of Madison, Wisconsin. He fought two-fight win streak. He last took on Kenny Robertson, who's 15-5. He won via ground and pound round 2. And then he fought Victor Moreno, who's 40-24. Holy shit. I mean, that sounds like some Tijuana type fighting that my brother started with back in the day. He beat Victor guillotine choke round 1. I don't give much respect to guillotine choke victories, not to the loser or the winner, because it's pretty soft. And then the Jesse Orlin, he lost unanimous decision when that guy was 5-0 and was a prospect. So Dante Shiro, though, he's decent though. He's got a good all around athletic body. He's got decent kicks. He's got good wrestling, but he's not gonna have good enough wrestling, in my opinion, to face a guy like Logan Storley. I think Logan Storley's D1 wrestling should be enough for him to smother him like a wet blanket for all 3 rounds. What do you say about this one, Mr. B?
Yeah, man. Storley, Sterling has high level wrestling. This could be one of those situations where you're just getting taken down and manhandled. If anything, just be prepared though, because Dante Shiro seems to be a guy who can possibly catch him lacking. If anything,
Mm-hmm.
just be alert. Avoid those certain shots. Avoid the explosiveness because he has some knockouts.
Yep.
In his amateurs, I think it is, and he has those submission wins. So he might look to get something sneaky. Just handle your business, Storley. Work
Yeah.
behind your jab. Set up your takedowns. Handle, you know what I mean? Handle it on the ground. Handle it on the ground. Make that man work.
Yeah.
Make him work. There
I
you
just
go.
think the experience of Logan Storley, but Dante Shiro is big dude. He's 6 foot, like I said, so he's got a 3 foot height advantage. The reach is not listed, but you should expect him to have at least a 74-inch reach, so at least a 3-inch reach advantage. You would think so. But yeah, I think I like Dante Shiro though. I think there is something there. He is a huge underdog here at plus 600, negative 1,000 for Logan Storley. I don't recommend putting these type of things in parlay pieces or doing anything of the sort because of the you don't know what you're going to get here. But Logan Storley has the experience. He has the D1 wrestling. He should be able to smother Dante Shiro like a wet blanket and show him the upper echelon of the sport that
Yep.
Logan Storley has seen himself. So I've talked enough about a fight that we're not betting on and we couldn't bet on because the damn odds are so fucking nuts, bro. So the co-main event of Bellator 265 is JJ Wilson versus Adam Borick. JJ Wilson is 8-0. They call him the Maori Kid. He is 24 years young, 5'11", 74-inch reach, fighting out of New Zealand. Has to be the top team, New Zealand top team, huh? It doesn't say that, but he's got to be with that crew. He's he's on a 9 fight win streak. But his last 3 fights, he took on Pedro Calvillo. He won, who was 11-4. He beat him ground and pound round 2. Then he took on Sergio Debari. He beat him overhand right to ground and pound round 1. He was 5-1. Then he took on Taiwan Claxton, who had a little bit of hype behind him, when he beat him split decision. So this kid is good, man, and he's also tested himself on the grappling scene. Before that, he took on William Tackett in a grappling bout. He lost in a decision and points in overtime. So I like when guys are testing their skills on the grappling scene, the way that JJ Wilson is. He's taking on Adam Borick. Adam Borick, he calls himself the Kid, 17-1, got a great record, 28 years old, young, 5'11", 70.5-inch reach, three-fight win streak, fight out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He last took on Jeremy Kennedy, and he beat him. Jeremy Kennedy is a vet from the UFC too, and fighting in Bellator. 16-2, Jeremy Kennedy is. He won a unanimous decision. Then he took on Eric Sanchez, who's 9-5, unanimous decision, and then Mike Hamill, 7-3, split decision. So with this one, man, this one is weird. What's the odds on this one? Adam Borick is a slight favorite at the negative 160. That would make sense with the experience, but I'm feeling something weird here, man. I don't know what it is, but I got some like spider senses in me tingling at the plus 130 underdog. The JJ Wilson is. I feel like Adam Borick is still a little young and green enough where he could possibly be caught by another real good green guy like JJ Wilson. I'm gonna go on the limb here. I'm gonna pick JJ Wilson to win, but it is against the grain. What do you think about this one, Mr. B?
This one is very interesting. This was like the one that caught my eye on this card for real, for real. As you said, JJ Wilson is a dynamic kid, man. He's been on low key, sitting on the Bellator cards and the prelims, been on all the Lima Lay McFarland fights. Every time she's fighting, he's been on the undercard. Well, like the prelims and whatnot, making a name, splashed up with his 3-fight win streak. He's a very tricky guy to prepare for, man. Adam Borick, 17-1. Explosive kid, man. KO submissions, he got him. He did get handled by Darian Caldwell, though, on the ground. Darian Caldwell managed to wrestle him and submit him.
D1 wrestler.
D1 wrestler. Put him down, kept him down, and submitted him. JJ Wilson has some submission game, has a bit of a submission game, a little bit. Nothing crazy, but it's there. I would expect J.J. Wilson to try to take Adam Borick to the ground. Borick's last fight, though, usually he used to get a little crazy, just come out there, wing some stuff, get a little technical, then wing some stuff, come out there with the explosive shots. That's how we get his KOs or whatnot. Last fight he fought against Kennedy, most technical fight that guy has ever fought in his entire Bellator run. Really handled Kennedy, defended the takedowns, pieced him, took his time. He needs that type of fighting to handle a guy like J.J. Wilson. Because one mistake, man, and it's over. J.J. Wilson is building up a lot of confidence, man, with these wins, beating up Claxton, who was in the featherweight tournament. Sergio Dabari knocked that guy out, no problem. And Pedro Carvalho was in the tournament. He fought Pitbull, and he just came out and he beat Pedro like Pedro was an amateur. So, J.J. Wilson has the potential to get this thing done, but he has to be very careful. They both have that explosiveness if they could go for the one-hit kill shot, they could get it done. But it's going to be a very exciting fight between those two. I'll tell you that much. As far as who I'm leaning towards, I don't know. I really don't know. It's just that kind of fight.
Yeah, I agree, man, 100%. This is gonna probably be the fight of the night to watch over here at the Bellator for two prospects. I think that J.J. Wilson, Adam Borick is going to shine here, so I really like these two. They're going to go in there and bang. With that said, that's the co-main event of the night. I want to shout out the 140 of you guys live here with me and Mr. B. Appreciate you guys supporting us while we go over this week's mixed martial arts charades. Then the main event of the Bellator 265 is Czech Congo versus Sergey Kharitonov. Two absolute MMA OGs, man. You have the darkness, Czech Congo, he calls himself, 30-11-2. He is 46 years old. Holy moly, bro. I knew that he was old, but I didn't know that old. He's like a dinosaur, folks. Like, dude, he's like a mammoth. Like, he should probably not be doing this much longer.
That's what I say.
Holy moly, bro. I'm in shock. But either way, 6'4", 81-inch reach. He's on a one-fight losing streak. He's fighting out of Windies, England. He's born in Paris, France. He last fought Tim Johnson, and he lost a split decision to Tim Johnson. That is not good, Mr. Frenchman. I tell you that is not good. Then he lost to Ryan Bader, or Ryan Bader was no contest, was an eye poke to ground and pound round one, which was fishy. And then Vitaly Manakov, he beat him. He was 20-0. That guy was, but he was never had really any experience, even though he was 21-0. He beat him unanimous decision. Czech Congo, he's taking on Sergey Kharitonov, the paratrooper. He calls himself, 32-8, former M1 fighter, 41 years old himself. So what's crazy though, he's got a lot of years being younger than Czech Congo. 6'4", 74-inch reach, on a 2-fight win streak. He's fighting out of Amsterdam, Netherlands. Oh, dude, speaking of that, holy moly, bro. I didn't even shout out my sponsors today. We'll have to do that at the end. Shout out to Split Seeds Amsterdam. Like, Mr. B, look, I failed on my sponsors today. How vicious. Kharitonov fighting out of Amsterdam. He last fought in a boxing bout versus Osborne Machiminov. He beat him KO, TKO, and M1 in round 3. Then he took on Oli Thompson in Paris FC, beat him with punches in round 1. Danny Williams, another boxing match, round 2. Round 2 for Fernando Rodriguez Jr. With that said, Sergey Kharitonov is an absolute savage standing. Czech Congo, to me, has been getting away with a lot of bullshit for a lot of years, and it kind of tripped me out that he has gotten away in the upper echelon of the sport without getting absolutely smoked and killed. I'm with Sergey Kharitonov on this one. He's the slight favorite at -185. I think he's the better athlete. I think he's younger. I think he's like I said, he's doing boxing matches. He's doing regular fight MMA. He's all over the place right now at his age, and he's younger than Czech Congo. So I think they're using Czech Congo's name here, and Sergey Kharitonov is going to be the victor of this main event for Bellator 265. What do you think about this main event, Mr. B?
This is a crazy fight, man. This is crazy. And yeah, Check Congo, man. Damn near 50 years old. Um, insane that he's still continuing to fight. To believe this man had once had a 8-fight win streak in the Bellator organization is kind of crazy to think. But yeah, it happened, man. You know, going up against Sergey Karatanov. Sergey's fought everyone. Damn near everyone. Talk about boxing, MMA, kickboxing. You know, people forget this man was sitting up in Pride, K1, Dream. He did some Strike Force stuff. You know, Karatanov is skilled. He's in there, man. Just a full-fledged savage, man. And as you said, Czech Congo's been all right, but as of late, you know, past couple years, Czech Congo has gotten away with some bull crap. He's gotten away with some decisions. He's had some high shining moments.
He lost to Tim Johnson, bro. Like that's not good, guys. Like I think Sergey Karatanov, this is a gift for him. This is a volleyball at Dodger Stadium that we hit around all day.
And so. I tell you what, Tim Johnson almost finished him. I think it was in the first round. He almost finished him in that fight when they had a rematch, and I think he beat Tim one time, and Tim beat him that time.
Yes, exactly.
And Tim almost finished him by ground and pound.
Yep,
that was ugly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ted Hicks. Yeah, God bless him, man. He's your age, but yeah, Ted, you're actually way better looking though, bro, and way healthier. That's the thing.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, it's crazy to see this, but that is what Bellator 265 is made of, and that is the main event: Czech Congo versus Sergey Karatanov. I feel like Sergey Karatanov is the one in the side to bet there and to pick, so I'm gonna be going with that. Seems like Mr. B, the MMA guy, 1986 on Twitter, agrees as well. And with that said, that is the Bellator 265 event.
But I will say one thing.
Yes, sir.
Don't be surprised if Czech tries to make that fight a boring fight, though. Oh, that's all I'll say.
He better, because otherwise he's probably going to get slept there, you know. Real fast, I'm going to thank my sponsors. We're going to jump in and let's get us off the screen real fast. I want to thank Melon Brand Hats. It's MELIN. It's Melon Brand Hats. They're a line of hats. My boy Brian McDonald, one of the co-founders in high school, he dreamed up a line of luxury materials, and some of them are waterproof. They sponsor really good athletes like Michael Chandler, Phil Mickelson, one of the best golfers to ever do it, Masters champion and extraordinaire. And like I said, they're really, really cool stuff. They last for a long time, and they're unlike anything else that you can get anywhere. So with that said, shout out to Melon Brand Hats. It's MELIN. And I really can't thank you enough for all you've done for me. And then secondly, I'd like to jump in as a Fokai. It's FOKAI stuff. It's FOKAIstuff.com. It's Guamalian gear. It's my boys over from Guam. Frank the Crank Camacho, sponsor Brandon Vera, Herman Tirado, former PFL vet, and Bellator star, that my brother's protege. And a lot of other people, but the gear has been around ever since is their slogan. They just updated their stuff with some winter gear and some other gear to come. They have socks, beanies, shirts, doormats. I mean, they're great people, man. They're all Islanders. They make everything there, and they do it all for their familia. So make sure you go over to FOKAIstuff.com and help my boys out from Guam. Thank you, Rome, for giving me the chance to support you. And last but not least, my big boy sponsors, it's Spliff Seeds in Amsterdam. It's SPLIFF Seeds. The picture here featured is of lemon cream Kush female seeds. It's the picture of my plant that I grew, and it's also on the book of a famous grower from the UK named Sean Prana, Prana. So if you want to go and get yourself some genetics for growing some really good medicinal stuff, make sure you go over there. And then I'd like to thank my other sponsors. We got Ted Hicks in the chat. Appreciate you here on Haps, Late Night Parents. He runs a show that's really good, and it gives you some real good content. And then we have my boy Kick Your Bass on Twitter 21. He's a professional fisherman who sponsors us as well. And Justin L from Vancouver, who supported me ever since. I really can't thank you guys enough for everything that you do for me. So with that said, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of love. And since I forgot to do that in the beginning, being a rookie, I was so excited to get Mr. B in here in this mix and get things going. So with that said, we are going to jump into UFC Vegas 34. Jared Cannonier versus Kelvin Gaslum. And I just can't wait for this. But the first fight of the night in the prelims is Ramir Brahimov. He's taking on Sashka Palatniev. Ramiz, he is 8-3. He is 28 years young. He's 5'10" with a 73-inch reach. He's on a one-fight losing streak, though. He's fighting out of Fortis MMA. He last took on Max, the Payne Griffin. He had a vicious elbow to the ear injury that stopped it in round 3. That made it, everyone seemed to be super dramatic about this fight when that happened. But then before that, he took on Carlos Martinez. He beat him arm triangle choke round 1 in LFA 62. And then he lost an LFA 55 versus Justin Patterson. So we have Ramir Brahimov. He's going to be taking on Sasha Platniev. Sasha is 6-3, and then so Sasha is 32 years young, 6'1", 72.5-inch reach. He's on a one-fight losing streak, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada. He last took on Impa Kasangna and lost by rear naked choke and went Tappy McTapper in round 2 to a striker. So I really dislike that. Then he beat Louis Koski in his initial debut for the UFC, where they gave him a beach ball and he lobbed it up and he hit it right across the ground and pound. Round 3, he ended up beating Louis Koski. And then he beat a guy who's 5-5 in Paulo Henrique. I'm not fond of Sasha Platniev. I don't think that he is meant for this upper echelon of the sport. I think that he is just skating on thin ice, doesn't have the all-around skills that he needs to be here. So this is my first bet of the night. I normally don't fire on the first fight of the night, but I'm going to be fighting on Ramiz Brahimov. The odds right now are, one second. We have Ramiz is at a -135 money line on Bovada, so I'm going to be dropping 1.35 units, $135 on Ramiz to beat Sasha. I think he's the all-around better athlete and has everything to say to Sasha. What do you think about this matchup, Mr. B?
I'm leaning with you on that one. I'm going with Brahim Maj as well. I like this guy, man. I like him. He's a pretty solid wrestler. Good submission skills. I think he's gonna try to get Palatnikov on the floor there, on the ground. Palatnikov did show some good striking in this fight in his debut. But when he fought Impa gave him the business. And I think Brian Mosh could implement the same strategy and just go in there and handle him. Good, solid wrestler. Just go in there, pressure him, get the takedowns, and just work. Have him work, find the submissions, and he'll get them. If he can get that man's back, or you know what I mean, get him in an arm triangle, he'll get it. He'll get it.
Yeah, that's why I'm leaning that way. So I'm glad that Mr. B agrees. Appreciate you, Aaron Weinbaum, for the High Five Award, and appreciate you being here with the Call Me Al podcast, which featuring Al Iaquinta. Absolute phenomenal show that's on Thursday. So make sure you guys tune into Aaron Weinbaum's show. And so that was the first fight on the prelims, and the second fight of the night is going to be one of the sleeper fights of the night. It is Roosevelt Roberts versus Ignacio Bahamondiaz. Roosevelt Roberts is 10-2. He calls himself the Predator. He's 27 years young, 6'2", 73-inch reach. He's on a one-fight losing streak, though. Fighting out of Cali. Shout out to Cali, baby. He last took on Kevin Kroom. He lost a no contest standing guillotine choke round 1. I believe that was a marijuana test.
It was a no contest. Yeah,
it's for some BS, so that doesn't really count of anything. And then Jim Miller, he bar round 1 to the veteran. In jiu-jitsu and in wrestling in general, there's not a lot of sweat built up in round 1, so it's kind of hard to discredit him versus a G like Jim Miller to get caught in an armbar round 1. But then he took on Brock Weaver. He beat him rear naked choke round 2. And then Alexander Yakovlev, he beat him unanimous decision, and then lost to Vince Pichel, who's going to be here on this card, unanimous decision. He's going to be so that's Roosevelt Roberts. He's taking on Ignacio Barahondias. He's 11-4. He's 23 years young, 6'3", 75.5-inch reach. He's fighting out of Chicago, Illinois. Shout out to Chi-Town and our boy TJ, the prodigy over there. And so got on a one fight losing streak. He last fought John McDessie. John McDessie showed the fuck up when he fought this kid on that fight. John McDessie, dude, like I bet against him. I bet Ignacio on this, and I ate shit.
Yeah.
John McDessie decided to take everything in his mother serious. Brought everything that he could, and looked mean as shit, and came here to bang Respado Home Diaz. And so he kind of exposed the kid here. But before that, he took on Edson Gomez, who was 6-1. He beat him with a front kick round 2. And then Chris Brown, who was 5-2, he beat him with a split decision. So, you know, when he's the hammer, he's the hammer. But he ended up being the nail with first John McDessie. He's taken on Roosevelt Roberts. And so I really like Roosevelt Roberts here. I think Roosevelt Roberts is going to is just going to be a little bit too much for him. But Home Diaz seems to he lets himself be hit, and he's vulnerable coming into the pocket. I like him, though. He's got kicks. He's got all-around good game. But I'm going to go with Roosevelt Roberts here by a slight edge. What do you think about this matchup, Mr. B?
I'm leaning with you on this one, man. Ignacio is still young, man. Roosevelt Roberts, that's a good guy. I like the way he fights. He fights kind of like the way, a little bit like what's this guy's name? You know, everybody thinks he doesn't deserve a title shot. What's his name? Leon Edwards. There you go.
Yeah.
He fights a little bit like Leon, where he goes in, he fights, and he waits for you to make mistakes, and he capitalizes on your mistakes while pretty much putting on a pretty solid offensive game plan somewhat. Looks to break you down, calculated shots, slowly wear you, could get those submissions, could get the finish. And he's going to fight with some reach, man. I think he's going to be able to tag up on Ignacio a lot in this fight. Ignacio's aggression, I think, will get the best of him in this fight, though. As in, not as a positive, but a negative, because Roosevelt will be there to tag on him badly, especially if Roosevelt works behind his jab. His boxing is pretty smooth, man. And just wear on him, piece him up. I think he could cruise to a good decision win. Roosevelt Roberts, if he fights the fight the way that we know he could fight, smooth decision. I think he can get on there. But if Ignacio goes in there hard-headed and try to throw all these crazy array of strikes, you know, uses reach crazy, the long jabs and 1-2s, and the long front kicks and whatnot, long head kicks, he could make it a messy fight. But I think Roosevelt should get this one here.
100% agree. I just like to shout out the 179 of you guys live and the 12 awards you guys have given us. Really appreciate you guys being here with me and Mr. B, the MMA guy, one of the former Periscope OG veterans of the sport. And so I'm thrilled to have him here to break down, give him his insight. He really is like a little encyclopedia of knowledge. He doesn't even have 2 screens like me, and sometimes this guy spits off some really cool shit. So really appreciate you being here, Mr. B, and all of you guys.
Oh, man, I'm just glad to be here.
Tuning in with us. I've been asking for a while to get this guy on because I love him so much, and so I'm stoked to have the Bronx OG, right? You're in Brooklyn? Yeah, baby. Bronx. So shout out to the Bronx, New York, man. And so the next fight of the night in the prelims is William Knight. He's taking on Fabio Trant. William Knight, he calls himself the Nightmare with a K, 9-2. He's 33 years young, 5'10" with a 73-inch reach, one fight win streak, one fight losing streak. Sorry, he's fighting out of Connecticut. He last took on Daon Jung, the big Asian dude, lost unanimous decision. He was 30. Daon Jung is 13-2-1. Then he beat. So that was his last loss. Then he beat Oleska Kammer, unanimous decision. Oleska Kammer was 6-0. And then he beat Cody Brundage on the Contender Series, elbows to ground and pound. William Knight packs a lot of power. The only detriment to William Knight, in my opinion, is his gas tank. He's so buff and he's so strong, and the lactic acid builds up in the muscle so fast that if he
Yeah.
decides to explode and go at a guy too fast, that he can huff and puff and end up not having enough energy and stamina to get through the fight. But he's taking on Fabio Cherant. They call himself the Water Buffalo. He's 7-2. He's 26 years young. He's 6'1" with a 76-inch reach. He's on a one-fight losing streak himself. He's fighting out of Lausanne with Joe Lausanne. So he's got some good training partners over there. He last lost to Alonzo Menefield to a round one Von Fluchoke. Alonzo Menefield's an absolute specimen. He just won recently.
Yep.
Got an absolute body, beat up Ed Herm, short fuse, the OG vet. And then he lost to Alonzo Menefield, which is, I don't like people tap, but it is what it is versus Alonzo Menefield. Then he beat Myron Dennis, who's 18-7, unanimous decision. LFA 99, and then Yuju, who's 3-0, unanimous decision. So his record is a little bit suspect, is Fabio Cherant. But this is a tough one for me to pick and gauge. I'm feeling something fishy. I feel like Fabio is going to have just a good enough strike. I feel like he's going to be bigger, and he's going to have a fight to show. And so I feel like he can edge a split a decision with the judges. He's 6'1", and then William Knight is a lot smaller. I feel like the size could end up being a detriment to William Knight, and because William Knight likes to be the hammer, and if he ends up not being stronger than Fabio Cherant, it could end up being bad. So I'm going to edge with Fabio Cherant here and go. I believe it's against the grain. Let me give you that one. Slight underdog is Fabio Cherant. So yeah, so I'm going to go with the underdog Fabio Cherant. I'm just not. I can't trust William Knight 100%. What do you think about this fight, Mr. B?
This one is tricky. This one is tricky. I'll start by saying this. I am a fan of William Knight. I'm a fan of him. I watched him a few years ago. When I caught him 2019, the Contender Series, and I liked his performance was okay. There was the problem with the gas, though. As you said, the gas tank. That's one of the things I did notice, is gas tank. He did get the fight and then come back on the Contender Series again, but I didn't like his fight IQ. For some reason, I don't know what it is. And then it showed in his last loss. This guy will offensively wrestle, but cannot protect himself defensively. It's weird. It's a weird thing. He fought Alexa Kamer, and he wrestled Alexa Kamer. He out-wrestled Kamer, and Kamer trains with, like, Stipe Miocic and them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Then he fought, what's his name? The guy, Daun Jung. And Daun Jung, I think if I remember correctly, didn't he beat him up on wrestling?
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
He handled him in wrestling.
It was
that man out.
That size, though, ended up being a lot, and that's the size that Fabio, I think, has.
And I was like, wait, how does that work? It's so weird. And then you seen the gas tank, like he couldn't keep up, and he just slowly got worn down. And that's one of the big hiccups, his gas tank. He does know that if he could muster up, to make the comeback, he can make the comeback. But that's all dependent on that guy's gas tank and if he can control the pace of the fight. Cherant, being training with Lausanne, he got that jiu-jitsu background. Yep. So I feel, if Cherant could go ahead and get some of these strikes on and change levels and just, put that weight on him and put that grappling on him, he'll be in for a rough night.
Yep.
But that all depends, because William is an explosive striker. So I think it depends on how William Knight's first round and a half might go.
Yeah.
If Cherant takes off early and gets that grappling on him, man, then we're talking problems. We're talking problems for William Knight. It could be gone in like within a minute, within the first round, or later on in the fight. I think it's a matter of, could Cherant implement his game plan before William Knight starts taking off in the fight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a great point. If Fabio Turan can take William Knight's sales out in round one, when William Knight's best round is round one, he could end up really being a detriment to William Knight, because if he can't get points scored in round one and use those big muscles,
yeah.
he's not the type of guy to come back round two, round three, and throw a great affair. But like, I'm glad that you. I mean, it's funny that you and I both kind of see a little bit of a path of victory for Fabio Turan. So you like that underdog? I feel like there's something weird there, and I just spidey senses are tingling for it.
Yeah,
But
it's a bit of a good underdog. You know what I mean? I can't argue if you're gonna put money on him. I can't argue with it.
no,
I
not at
can't
all.
argue with it.
And
No.
so, with that said, the next fight of the night is Bay Malecki. She is fighting Josian Nunez. That's a crazy. I don't know saying that right. But either way, Bay Malecki is two. It says that she's 2-0. She's called herself the Bad News Barbie. She's had a amateur career before she was 2-0. I don't even know why they're not the exhibition bout she lost in the Ultimate Fighter. They're not counting, but I count that.
Yeah.
But she's really like 5-1 with the loss in the Ultimate Fighter. But her last two fights, she took on Veronica Mercado. She was 6-3-1. She won a unanimous decision. And then Duda Santana on ESPN, UFC, who was 3-0. She won by rear naked choke. I mean, these are some padded people that she has beaten. So she really has not had faced adversity ever in her career at all. Bay Malecki. Bay Malecki is 5'9" though, and she has a 4-inch reach. She's taking on the Josiah Nunez. She calls him Josie. Call herself Josie too, because your first name is terrible. And so 7-1. She's 27 years old. 5'2", 5'2" versus 5'9". So 7-inch height. I believe the reach is going to be something similar. They have the reach listed for her, but she's on a 6-fight win streak. Is Josie Nunez? She's fighting at Rio Grande, Parana, Brazil. So she last fought, took on Case Kazina Zambanak, who's 4-0, won punches, and then Dion Barbosa punches round two, and then Juliana Araujo TKO round two. But these guys are padded, man. I mean, their third to last win is 0-1. The second to last is 3-0. The other girl's 4-0. Very, very suspect record that she has here. She's obviously got hands, and she's got some heavy ones because she's finished the last four of her people that she fought. But she's going to be outsized, in my opinion, here. I feel like this is a match for Bay Malecki to use her a little bit of experience, even if she has any. But this could be a very weird one here, and Josiah Nunez could have some crazy hands and just be a little Tasmanian devil and spark Bay Malecki. But I'm going to go with Bay Malecki here, just to edge a decision. What do you got on this one, T? Or Mr. B?
Man, I think this is just a gimme fight for Bia Malecki. Bia Malecki. I honestly feel like this is a gimme fight. Although Nunes does have the experience though, and she could make something happen. Don't get me wrong. I won't, you know what I mean? I won't discredit her like that. I feel it's a gimme fight because, look at Baya's height, Baya's reach. You know what I mean? And she's getting a lot of this time so she could come in and prepare for these fights, I don't know. The new Nunes, she has her record, but you kind of think about the quality of opponents she's faced compared to Malecki and the quality of opponents she's faced.
Yeah.
Bea hasn't fought that many people in the pros, although she's fought, here in North America. You know what I mean? She fought Veronica Macedo, was it? Yeah, Macedo.
Mm-hmm.
And Macedo moved up weight to fight that fight. And you know what's crazy? Macedo did good in the first round. She ended up just gassing out for the rest of the fight.
Yep.
She got picked apart from a distance. And Duda Santana, we don't know where Duda's gone. So that, there's that. But other than that, she got the experience from Tough. I just think she'll manage to do what she got to do. If she's gonna fight rangy. She knows she's gonna go in that clinch and use those knees. Just fight from range. That's it pretty much. If Nunes is gonna look for a win, she just got to close distance and just rumble with Bea.
Yeah, that's kind of what's going to happen. I agree 100%. It's going to be a weird one, but with the record of Bea Malecki, it's so weird to see her here. I know she has an OnlyFans, so maybe Dana White's a fan of her in that sense. So to get this chance, but the next fight of the night is Brian Boom Boom Kelleher taking on Domingo Pilarte in the 135-pound division. Boom Boom is 22 and 12. He's 22 and 12, 35 years old, 55'6" with a 64-inch reach. He's on a one fight losing streak, fighting out of Selden, New York. So shout out to your boys over there in NY, Long Island MMA comes out of. He last took on Ricky Simone. He lost the unanimous decision. Ricky Simone is a great wrestler who basically can smother you every bit of the sense in every round and has a great gas tank. And that's pretty much what Ricky Simone did to him. It was a wet blanket. He then took on Ray Rodriguez and won by guillotine choke round one in a fight that lasted literally not long at all. 16-6 was Ray Rodriguez, who he defeated. And then he lost to Cody Stamen, another wrestler, unanimous decision, who was 18-2 and 1. The Achilles heel for Brian Boom Boom is the wrestling, and it seems to be his heart's there. He's got decent hands. He's got decent all around game. He's got this guillotine choke that he likes to go to, but I don't really trust anyone that goes to a guillotine choke. He's taking on Domingo Pilarte. He calls himself the Son of Fire. He's 8-2. He's 31 years old. He's on 6 foot with 74-inch reach, and he's on a one fight losing streak fighting out of Houston, Texas, man. Crazy the size advantage here. This guy's 6 foot tall. It's gotta matter somewhere. He last took on Journey Newsome. He no contest overhand right. I don't know exactly what happened in the contest. Then he took on Felipe Colares. He lost a split decision. Kind of got pounded out there by Felipe Colares, in my opinion. And then ended up coming back a little bit, but then didn't have enough gas tank to finish it. But then he won versus Vince Morales, who's 7-1 by rear naked choke on the Contender Series, and then LFA 7 he beat Adrian Yanez, who I love. Adrian Yanez, and a lot of people are high on Mr. Dr. Pepper himself, who beat Randy Costa in Mr. Twitter war themselves. So that's a pretty good win there, man. He's able to do that. So I have a rule here. I always pick the OG versus someone somewhat of the newcomer, but this one's weird because Domingo Pilarte's size advantage. Like I said, he's 6 foot with a 74-inch reach, and Brian is 5'6" with a 64-inch reach. That we're talking about 10 inches, and it's a lot, man. I can't back the 35-year-old Brian Boom Boom. I'm going to go against my normal thing of picking the veteran. I'm going to go with Domingo Pilarte for some reason. I feel like he's just too big, and it's going to end up being a detriment to him. But what do you think about this matchup between Brian Kelleher and Domingo Pilarte, Mr. B?
Yo, man. Kelleher has a lot of experience, has a lot of fights under his belt, but he is in for a scrap against Domingo Pilarte. This guy Pilarte is all about the fight, man. Oh my God, he's willing to scrap. He's willing to go out there and put on a show. He has the reach advantage, the size advantage, the reach advantage, and he has the skills to back it up. Even though he's 8-2, he will go out there and put some damage on Brian Kelleher, man. Kelleher has to try to keep this fight, man, in somewhat of a smothering pace. If not, Domingo Pilarte will work him. He will work him for those 3 rounds, or he will look to work him, beat him up, and look for the finish. Pilarte's just not a guy, just not to, you know what I mean, to just overlook. Even though Kelleher does go for those submissions. You know, he likes to go in and attempt those guillotine chokes. You know, if you try to shoot for the takedowns or whatnot, he has to try to play this real smooth. I don't like Kelleher fighting in a decision type battle though against certain guys. This one he can't. It's gonna be hard for him to do. I like Brian though, because you know Brian's from out, Kelleher's from out here. But yeah, man, I'm not deciding yet, but I might go for Pilarte here.
Don't tell the New York resident himself, Brian.
I
But yeah,
might.
this one's just weird, man. The size, it means a lot. If you've ever done wrestling or jujitsu and you've been in there with someone, if it's even if they were equal belts and then they went down on the ground, once they have one has a length advantage, then one's gonna have a submission advantage, and that's just in my own opinion. Rolling with guys that are longer than me, they just seem to be get body triangles faster. They can get arm bars faster. They can do. They just seem to be able to be fits for a little bit shorter guys, even though shorter guys do have the leverage advantage for wrestling if you have the wrestling advantage. But
Yeah.
for submissions, the longer guys, it seems to favor them. I really think that Domingo Pilarte has a chance here. Like I said, the odds even indicate that he's close to that as well because he's at only a negative or plus 145. Brian Kelleher is at negative 175. So pretty close bout that they have there. But I'm gonna go on the limb and pick Pilarte because of the size. It just seems a little fishy to me. But the next fight of the night is the last fight of the prelims. It is going to be a sleeper fight of the night. It is Luis Saldana versus Austin Lingo. Luis Saldana is 15-6. He's 30 years old. He's 5'11 with a 73-inch reach. He's on a 5-fight win streak fighting out of Phoenix, Arizona. He last took on Jordan the Psycho Griffin and dominated him in all 3 rounds in a unanimous decision. Then he took on Vince Murdoch on the Contender Series, who was 12-3, and the front kicked him to ground and pound in round 3, dominated him as well. And then beat an LFA 60, beat Carl Witzlock, who's 10-4 by RNC in round 2. So this guy's a finisher, Luis Saldana. He's got kicks, he's got length, he's got a lot to offer in the offense. He is going to be taking on Austin Lingo, though. Austin Lingo, we call him Lights Out Lingo, 8-1. He's 27 years young, 5'10 with a 70-inch reach. 1-fight win streak, fight out of Fortis MMA in Dallas, Texas. Shout out to Texas Barbecue. He last took on and beat Jacob Kilburn and came to kill one unanimous decision and just he just comes forward like a little tank and he's there. He's throwing big old bombs. He has a lot of heart, but he's there to be hit. Then he lost to Yusuf Zalal, winning unanimous decision. Yusuf Zalal was 7-2, and then he beat Solo Hately Jr. by punches in round 1. He was 6-1.
Yeah.
This is a very weird one here, man. I like Luis Saldana a lot, but I also like the aggression of Austin Lingo a lot. But I'm going to be going with Luis Saldana here. I think what the odds are, Luis Saldana is a negative 125 favorite, so barely a slight edge. I'm going to pick Luis Saldana because of his length, his kicks, and because he can throw a kick while Austin Lingo probably walks into the pocket. But this is going to be a great fight to watch. So this is one of the fights of the night that me and my boy, Mr. B, were looking at for sleeper fight of the night. What do you have in this matchup, Mr. B?
Man, the definitely potential for fight of the night here, man. Yep, one of the sleepers for sure. You got Saldana. Yeah, you got Saldana here. I might be going for Lingo. That's just me though. I might be going for Lingo.
No worries.
Lingo is just that guy, man. Action-packed guy. He does have to fight real smart in this one though. They just can't be marching headstrong in here and taking unnecessary shots. I freak out when fighters are good but take too many shots for their own good. I don't like that here against a kid like Saldana. Saldana's learning on the fly. You know, he made his debut. He learned in that debut there. You know how to handle himself in those pressure situations. When he fought, what was he fought last fight? When he fought Jordan Griffin, yeah, he did learn a lot because Griffin kind of had him a little bit, but he did power through and got that win. With that said, Saldana is a sneaky guy, man. I like the way he throws his kicks. I like the way he uses his strikes, his movement, how he goes about things, looking for those crazy angles of shots. He also moves. He has good footwork, good movement. He'll circle around that pressure that Lingo will bring. Lingo just has to fight a little smarter in this one here. Just pick and choose your shots. Find your opportunities. If anything, work the body. Saldana will definitely look to work the body. Gotta be wary of those body kicks. Some of those body kicks, Lingo, because you want to march through everything and you want to be a super soldier. That's cool, man. But it don't pay off if this man knocks you out or catches you lacking, and then you're in a submission.
Yeah,
Um,
he's got the Julian let me bang bro attitude. Does Lingo, but he's definitely got a lot of skill too. So I do like Austin Lingo a lot. I just worry about him coming into the pocket with so much aggression, and being caught with a counter striker
yeah,
or a kick. So
exactly. So you know what I mean. I just hope Austin could go in there, as I said, fight a little bit more smarter, throwing a little bit of defense in there, and just do what you can, man. Do handle the fight the way you handle the fight.
for
And
sure.
yeah, come out there. But it will be a good fight for sure.
Going to be a great fight to enter the main card. And that's the last fight of the prelims. And the first fight of the main card is Alexandra Pantoja versus Brandon Royvel. The cannibal, he calls himself, Alexandra Pantoja, 23-5. He's 31 years old, 5'5", with a 68-inch reach. He's on a one-fight win streak, fighting out of one of my favorite teams, American Top Team in Florida. Mike Brown, Dustin Poirier, George Masvidal, a ton of talent over there to roll with, just to fight and to pick their brains in general. And Pantoja last took on Manel Cape and won a unanimous decision. Manel Cape looked a little gun shy in that fight. That was one of his first fights coming here over from was it M1 that he was from?
Ryzen.
Risen. Sorry, yeah, good job. So it was Ryzen. So he beat Manel Cape unanimous decision. Then he lost to Askar Askarov, who has a lot of talent, who's 12-0-1. He lost unanimous decision. And then he won that versus Matt Schnell, who was 14-4 via overhand right. And he lost to the champion Devison Figueroa, the former champion Devison, unanimous decision. So he's been there with the likes of everyone as Alexander Pantoja, BJJ black belt, got a sick all-around game. He's taking on Brandon Royvel, raw dog, he calls himself. 12-5. He's 29 years young, 5'9", with a 70.5-inch reach. He's on a one-fight losing streak, fighting out of Colorado, Factory X Muay Thai. He last fought Brandon Assassin Baby Moreno, who we all love and adore. He lost his shoulders separated, and then he lost via ground and pound round one. So I don't really like the fact that his shoulders separate so easily, because that could happen in every single fight and scramble that can go on. He took on Kai Kara France. He beat him in guillotine choke round 2. That's a great win. And he beat arm triangle choke Tim Elliott round 2. So got some sick chokes and submission wins. Does Brandon Royvel, but he's taking on Pantoja, who is keen to mostly all that. I just, it's hard to go against Pantoja, who's been there in the upper echelon of the sport. He's been in there with absolutely everyone. I feel like he has the same jiu-jitsu, if not better. I feel like striking can be thrown up in the air, because we might not quite know what you're going to get. But I feel like Pantoja rolls around with guys the same caliber of Royvel all the time. What really irks me is the Brandon Royvel's injury. I can't tell you what you're going to get. That arm could separate any time. This fight is going to be probably the fight of the night to watch with the scrambles in wrestling transitions. I love scrambling wrestling. The odds right now are plus 140 on Bovada for Brandon Royvel, negative 170 for Pantoja. So you got to put $170 to make 100 on Pantoja. $100 makes you 140 on Brandon Royvel. I like Pantoja here. I think that in this fight that he's just a little bit better. The odds are just slightly indicating that. I don't quite know what we're going to get with Brandon Royvel, but what do you got in this matchup, Mr. B?
I like this matchup too. Fight of the night potential as well. Scrambles will be insane. Submission attempts will be nuts. The striking is going to be interesting. Royval, I think, has a 2-inch reach advantage over Pantoja, right? He is one of the more taller guys.
Yep, 2.5-inch
More
reach.
more the more taller, sizable guys there at 125. But Pantoja doesn't back down from challenges, man. And you know what I mean? It makes for a great fight. I don't have a solid pick in this fight.
Yeah, me neither.
Because Royval is a dynamo, man. You just don't know when he's gonna come out and just magically snatch up the submission win, or if he can land a shot to put you away. But Pantoja's been tried and tested in this division, and he's improved a lot. He's fought some of the best that the division has to offer.
Yeah, for sure.
Real good guy, no lacking either, man. Real solid submission skills. As I said, improved striking. This is gonna be a real big test for Royvel. Not really for Pantoja, but more so for Royvel, man, because Royval's pretty. You know what I mean? They're both young. What am I saying?
Yeah.
But
Well, coming
yeah,
off an injury, Pantoja's coming off a win. Royvel's got to
yeah,
prove his arm doesn't separate anymore.
yeah,
So you're right. Pantoja's got. I mean, Royvel's got a little bit more on his plate, in my opinion.
yeah. And especially with the fact that you don't know when Pantoja's gonna strike either with these submissions,
Yep.
and you're talking about a guy in Royvel who's coming off a shoulder separation. That imagine he's going in there and freaking Pantoja tries to go for an arm bar, tries to leap up on a Kimura or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
But
know.
anyhow, Royvel tries to yank that arm out, that thing could get separated all over again.
Exactly. That's
God
why
forbid, so
that's why it's hard to pick Royval. But this is one of the fights I'm not betting on it. I'm not touching it. This is going to be
no.
this is going to be my fight to watch for transition, submission, and wrestling. Just transitions in general. So make sure you tune into this fight because it is going to be
Definitely.
a great scrap. The next fight of the night is my violence bet of the night. It is my boy Vince Pichel from the 805 of Ventura County, baby, taking on Austin Hubbard in the main card. 13-2 is Vince from Hell Pichel, 38 years old, 5'10 with a 72-inch reach on a 2-fight win streak. Fights out of Simi Valley, Colorado. But he actually just went over to Factory X. We said Factory X, right? Wasn't that what we said? Mr.
Yeah.
B? Yeah,
Yeah.
Factory X. He's over there and getting some
Was it fact? No, elevation.
fight
There you
team.
go.
Sorry, my bad. Yeah, you're right. So first time
Elevation.
ever that Vince from Hell Pichel's left Simi Valley and the likes of Simi Valley Street Sports and all of his boys over here, who I'm really well familiar with. Shout out to Drew Sklove, one of the BJJ studs over there that runs Simi Valley Street Sports that Vince from Pichel rolls at. But yeah, he finally, for the first time, has left Simi Valley and to take things serious over in Elevation. Vince Pichel is a guy that have fought in the streets like my brother and I. We were just always banging, whether it was versus each other or versus other outsiders from this town. And he's just a tough dude, man. Whether it's in the streets or whether it's in the cage, man. His jiu-jitsu is super well versed. I believe he's now a BJJ brown belt, super sharp at that. He trains with some really good killers over here. His stand-up too, man. His striking is no joke, dude. His heart is 100% there. He's the type of guy that I absolutely love to bet against. So Vince Pichel, or bet on. Vince Pichel is taking on Austin Hubbard. Austin Hubbard is he calls himself the Thud. Probably one of the worst nicknames I've ever heard of. 13-5. He's 29 years young, 5'10 with a 71-inch reach. He's on a 1-fight win streak. He's fighting out an Elevation Fight Team. Is actually the same fight team that Vince has went over there with. I don't know if they're separating their camps or if Austin Hubbard is left there. But as of this moment, I know that both of them were over there and are probably over there. But either way, Austin Hubbard, this guy just very hittable, but he does have some real good scrambles. He does have a decent game in general, but he does not like to be the nail versus the hammer. He last took on Dakota Bush. He won a unanimous decision. Dakota Bush is 8-2, and then he took on Joe Selecki. He lost by RNC round one. Joe Selecki was 9-2. Is a great jiu-jitsu guy. To me, Vince Pichel has really good jiu-jitsu, almost equal to Joe Selecki. And so I think he's going to have problems, man. And then he took on Max Rokoff. He beat him, and for his retirement fight, it looked like. I don't know why he came back or whatever that says retirement. So either way, Austin Hubbard, man, I think he's going to have he's going to have fits with my boy Vince Pichel. I think that Vince Pichel has got the all-around BJJ game. I think he's got the hands to show for it. He opened up at -143. He's at a beautiful gift at a -110 pick'em price on Bovada. I'm going to be laying down ×2 on my boy Vince from Hell Pichel. I'm going to be putting down $220 on Vince to win $200 to win 2 units. So 2.2 units to win 2 units on Vince from Hell Pichel to show him how the 805 does things and to smash Austin Hubbard's nose into the ground and make that nose so bright. What do you think about this fight? What do you think about this fight, Mr. B? Is your mic off? Can you
Yeah,
hear me,
my
bro?
mic was off.
Oh,
My
sorry.
bad.
No worries.
No, I did that. My bad.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, I'm leaning a little bit more towards Vince Pichel on this one. I just you was talking about it a little before. Pichel comes in with this pressure, man. He has his pressure. He could strike, man. That dude could strike. That man
Yep.
has some power on him. Regardless of you looking at his age or not, you know what I mean? He has some shots, boy. Going up against a guy like Austin Hubbard. Austin Hubbard is kind of a funky guy, you know what I mean? He strikes, he kind of uses anti-wrestling. He's good with the scrambles. He defends kind of well on the ground. Um, he's a tough guy to like KO. You can catch him more so on the submissions or try to outpoint him and get the decision win. I think Pichel has the ability to do so. You just gotta be wary because sometimes Hubbard tends to come back. You can have a tough first round and tend to come back with the output in the second and third rounds. Cardio is pretty solid for him for Austin Hubbard. I've watched Pichel carry himself through some tough three rounders too. You know what I mean? During his run here in the UFC. But I do say I think Pichel got a little bit more of the experience here being in the UFC, dealing with a lot of other fighters here. Um, Pretty solid caliber fighters. Has gotten knockouts over some good fighters here. I think he could go in there and do the same thing to Austin Hubbard. Will be a tough fight, though. Will be a tough fight, but I think Vince Pichel has enough in the toolbox to get the job done against Hubbard. Just got to
Yeah.
be a little careful, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
With the later rounds,
I
yeah.
think he's just too tough and could be able to win a grind a 3 round decision versus him. But this is like I said, I feel it. I know this guy personally. I know how strong and tough he is mentally. I know his BJJ game personally from friends that roll with him, and so I just love the opportunity here for Vince Pichel, easy money. So Vince Pichel ×2 for the last bet of the night from Cope's Corner, and so hopefully we'll be here next week cashing both bets that we fired. But the next fight of the night is Trevin Jones. He's taking on Sedio Cobb Karamonov. Vicious name. Trevin Jones, my boy, fighting out of Guam. So shout out to Guam and FolkEyeStuff.com. Make sure you go get yourself some stuff from my sponsor. The boys over in Guam are dope. He calls himself 5-star, does Trevin Jones. He's 31 years old. He's 5'7" with a 70-inch reach. He last fought and he took on Mario Batista in March of 2021. He won the lead uppercut to ground and pound round 2. Mario Batista was 8-1, so decent. And then he beat Tomir Valiev, no contest, right hook to ground and pound. Not sure what caused that.
Oh man, he smoked some weed, man. He smoked
Oh,
some
gee, it's
weed.
so stupid, bro.
Ah,
Dude, it's like that doesn't even count. So he beat him. And then Otsuka, Deep 89 Impact round 2 RNC. So he's got all around good game. He likes to strike and do jujitsu. He's
yeah,
taking on Cedric Cobb, who's 8-2. He's 25 years young. He's 5'7" with no reach listed. He's fighting out of California, they say, Team Yoma. He last took on Tracy Lynn. He beat him KO TKO round 2. The guy was 8-4, and then Asker. He beat him 10. Who's 10-0. He beat him punches round 1. Unless then lost flying knee round 3 to a guy who was 6-1, and then Umar Nurmagomedov. He lost another one unanimous decision. So this guy has lost and always he's been KO'd by flying knee and he's lost unanimous decision. Trevin Jones, strong dude, all around decent games, 5'7", 70-inch reach. I'm gonna go with my boy from Guam just because I don't pick this fight, don't bet this fight. I have no good lean on this. I'm picking my boy from Guam just because I feel like he's got a better game. I don't know enough about Sedya Cobb, but what do you think about this one, Mr. B?
I don't know much about this dude either, but I'm always nervous about certain guys that just pop out of nowhere because and then you look at their records, they might have the potential to do something crazy. Um, I will go. Trevin's had, you know what I mean? Trevin's has shown pretty good skills, man. I was quite impressed by that knockout he had against Batista. I always talk about the importance of using a good uppercut. That man caught him with the lead uppercut and knocked him out. That was insane. That was an insane showing.
Yeah, true.
So Jones is really proving himself. Just a couple fights here, but he's proven himself. Hopefully, he could come out here and do the same thing. If not, this guy, let's say how we can say this name, Kakramanov. Okay,
Yeah, that was good.
Kakramanov. Okay,
Good
we'll
job.
say that. He's out of Oyama. You said Oyama.
Yeah,
Team Oyama was
that's what
it?
it
Yeah,
says. Yeah.
that's who's that? The Carlos Esparza's team. There you go, Carlos
Yes.
Esparza. And if I remember,
Alexander
Ian
Perez,
McCall.
Alex
Yeah,
Perez,
Alex Perez. Yeah, Ian
Marlon
McCall
Cheeto.
was out of there. Yeah,
Yep, Marlon Cheeto Vera,
yeah.
Humberto Bantanai, Luis Smolka, Uncle Creepy, bunch of
Some
good
good
people.
train. Yeah, some good people to train with there, man. Um, we'll see. We'll see how he does here, though. This will be his debut, right? So
Yep.
we'll see how he handles. We'll just see. I agree though, Mike. Don't want to bet this one. You might want to leave this one alone.
Yeah, there's no edge, there's no lean, and they're just watch the fight because this is gonna be weird.
Yeah,
Hopefully there's a finish there, but I just want to shout out. I appreciate the 241 of you live that are watching and all the awards you guys have given us. Really appreciate you guys being here with us. The
definitely.
next fight of the night on the main card is Chase Sherman versus Parker the Heifer Porter. No, that's not his nickname, but that's what I gave him. Chase Sherman, the Vanilla Gorilla himself. He's 5'7" or 15-7 on his record. He's 31 years young, 6'4", 78-inch reach. He's on a one-fight losing streak. He's fighting out of Mississippi, United States. So, shout out to Mississippi down south. Andre Olaski, he last fought. He lost unanimous decision. And then he took on Ike Villanueva. He beat him punches round 2. And then bare knuckle, he lost unanimous decision to Joey Beltran. And so, Chase Sherman, tough dude, man. He's got a decent game now. He's got some experience. He's fighting Parker Porter, who's 11-6, 36 years old, 6 foot, 75-inch reach on a one-fight win streak, fighting out of Connecticut. He last took on Josh Parisian, and he beat him. He was 13-3, unanimous decision. Lost to Chris Dawkins. Chris Dawkins, tough dude. He lost knees and punches round 1. And then he beat a guy named Durley Bruno, who's 16-7 by win TKO. This is another one I don't have a great 100% lean on. I'm going to pick Chase Sherman from the experience. I think he's the better athlete and he has a lot more to show for himself. But what do you think about this fight?
Yeah, I'm leaning towards Sherman as well. I'm leaning towards Sherman more so because he's come back. He's picked up some boxing skills. He was out there. He did some bare knuckle. He won a title there, bare knuckle fighting championships. He was also on Island Fights, I think, if I remember.
Yeah.
When he got cut, he did some stuff over there and looked pretty good, man. Improved his boxing a lot. He's learning how to work behind his jab, work strategically, and hit leg kicks as well. Make it high low problems for fighters. He fought Ike Villanueva, did that same thing. Um, Parker Porter over here. Parker did have a good job against Parisian. But I don't think Sherman's gonna give him those types of opportunities. Parisian's more so like he has a weird style, like a weird wrestling type of thing with the clinching and against the cage stuff. And I don't know. Sometimes, Parisian comes out fired, but other times he's like, But Porter probably come out here looking for big shots, set up the boxing a little bit. But as I said, I lean more towards Sherman. Sherman got that experience roundabout, and he's looked pretty good in his fights. Even when he lost to Olaski, he looked all right. Um, I lean more towards Sherman on this one, man. I
Yeah,
think I think he'll just outwork him on the feet.
I agree, man. It's hard to bet on Parker Porter ever, to pick Parker Porter ever. So Parker Porter is more of a porker than a Parker Porter. The next fight of the night is the co-main event. It is Clay the Carpenter Guida taking on Mark O. Matson. Clay the Carpenter Guida is a legend of the MMA, as everyone knows, 36-20. He is 39 years old, 5'7", with a 70-inch reach. He's on a one-fight win streak, fighting out of Illinois. He last fought and took on Michael Johnson and showed up and just dominated him. Unanimous decision and looked absolutely phenomenal. And then before that, he lost to Bobby Green, who Bobby Green has been on a decent run here. So he lost a unanimous decision to him. And then he lost to Jim Miller, guillotine choke round 1. So, the legend Clay Guida, what can he say? He's got great cardio. He's got good wrestling. He's got good hands. It's just his age and father time is kind of catching up with him. But he's taken on the Olympian Marco Matson. 10-0 is Mark Matson. He's 36 years old, 5'8" with a 72-inch reach. He's fighting out of Denmark. He's 10 win streak, like I said. He last took on Austin Hubbard, who's fighting on this card, who we're betting against. He won unanimous decision and smothered him like a wet blanket. And then Danilo Berlato, he beat him ground and pound round one. And then Patrick Nielsen, who was 0-0, he beat him in round one. So he's beat a lot of guys, super padded records. Right now, the odds have Mark Matson at a favorite at -175 on Bovada. So -175 means you need $175 to make 100. I don't know where or why you would do that. Yes, his wrestling is good. Yes, there's a possibility that he could win a decision wrestling. But Clay the Carpenter Guida has way better stand up. Mark Matson has no stand up. Clay Guida has given you and shown you everything that he's going to bring. I cannot bet against Clay the Carpenter Guida in this fight. I'm going to be picking the underdog, Clay the Carpenter Guida, at plus 145. So if you do like the underdog here, I believe he can upset Marco Matson and just upset his night. What do you think about this fight?
I think so too. No disrespect to Marco. Marco has a high level wrestling pedigree. But Clay, man, Clay got the experience. And it's hard to match up Clay's pace, man. The pace that Clay Guida could set for 3 rounds is unbelievable.
Serious.
Yeah. So it's gonna be real hard for you to do that, man. The striking is there for Clay. Clay's always improving on his boxing. He has that quick in and out style, jump right in the pocket, throw some strikes, jump right back out, jump right back in, change levels in an instant. It's going to be a hard riddle to crack for Marco, I think, within probably like the first round, maybe even the first 2 rounds. Marco is definitely going to be diving for those takedowns, though.
Yeah, he is.
For sure.
He better.
I think just Clay Guida just got to set the tone, man. Got to go in there and set the tone. No lacking, no slow motion movements. Just keep bouncing around like he did when he fought, who was it?
Michael Johnson, even. Or
Yeah, when he
back
fought
in the
Michael
day.
Johnson.
Yeah.
Michael Johnson, when he fought Gray Maynard, confused the hell out of him like he did. Yeah, BJ Penn. When he fought Anthony Pettis, confused the hell out of him. You know what I mean? Just make him look at you like, yo, what the hell are you doing? You know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah, I think that's what Clay Guida got to do. Set the pace from first round to third round.
100%.
Set it. Set it.
I like
Keep
that
man.
I like we both see the path of victory there. I think that if he rocks Marco Matson at all, his whole wrestling IQ is kind of out the window. And so I just really like Clay the Carpenter Guida there. It's not a bet for my show. Yes, I would pick him for just everything in general. Other than that, DraftKings probably, but I not or telling you to bet that. Just I like Clay Guida there. I like him more than Mark Matson striking. With that said, that is the co-main event. What up, Ja? Appreciate you being here, bro. Appreciate the high five award. And I appreciate the 251 people here tuning in to me and Mr. B rip on MMA. The last fight of the night is the main event is Jared Cannonier versus Kelvin Gaslum. Jared Cannonier, the killer gorilla, he calls himself. He's 13-5. He's 37 years old. He's 5'11 with a 77.5-inch reach. He's on a 1-fight losing streak. He's fighting out Alaska. He lost to Robert Whitaker, Bobby Knuckles himself. So you can't really blame him for losing a unanimous decision to a guy like that. But before that, he smoked Jack Hermanson, uppercut to ground and pound round 2. And then Anderson Silva, knee injury via leg kick, kicked his leg round 1. And then David Branch, he smoked the BJJ black belt round 2. So Jared Cannonier, man, this guy's tough. I like him a lot. He's all about his crystals and his energy and all the things of the sort. And I love that shit. I'm about energy and good vibes and everything of the sort. I like Jared Cannonier. He's taking on Kelvin Gaslum, who's been here with the upper echelon of the sport for a long time, though. 17-7 is Kelvin Gaslum. He's only 29 years old, man. He's been here banging with the best of the sport for a long ass time, man. Since he's been drinking alcohol since 21, kind of. He's 5'9", though. He's always outsized for this division. He's 71.5-inch reach. He's on a one-fight losing streak. His wrestling bases wrestling is a great wrestler. He last took on Whitaker. He lost unanimous decision. He last took on Ian Heinich. Before that, he won and beat him unanimous decision. And then he lost to Jack Hermanson. He lost to Darren Till. He lost to Israel Adesanya, who's a stud. So I think that this is a tailor-made fight for Jared Cannonier to win. I think that Kelvin Gaslum has been in the wrong division for a while. He's only been here because he couldn't make weight for 170, so they pushed him up to 185, forced him up here. And I like Jared Cannonier a lot. He's been bet down. He was opened up at negative 230 favorite. He's now at negative 155. I like the action. I like that everyone's on is on Gastelum, and I like Jared Cannonier. I think this is the time to shine. I think Jared the Killer Cannonier, Jared the Gorilla Cannonier, Jared the Killer Gorilla Cannonier. He could dominate this fight. I think he's just too big, strong. But Kelvin Gaslum, if he wants to show up and wrestle, he might. But I'm picking Jared Cannonier. What do you think about this fight, Mr. B?
This is the fight, man. I don't know who to pick. I like both these guys. For those, when I was on Periscope, I called those two fights of Jared Cannonier. When I said Jared Cannonier is gonna beat Anderson Silva in Brazil, watch it. It's gonna happen. When he fought Jack Hermanson, I said he's gonna starch Jack Hermanson. Just watch. It's gonna happen.
Yep.
Yo.
We bet him here on the show for that, and it was amazing.
You know what I mean? This dude is for real, man. This guy used to fight at heavyweight, cut to light heavyweight, had his little wins and losses, took some bad losses, cut down to middleweight, and since then figured out middleweight to where he needs to be. He generates a lot of energy. A lot of power at middleweight. He's about being very calculated in his attack. But when he attacks, Jesus Christ, make way. Kelvin Gastelum over there, you know what I mean? And you're right on that. It is hard, for some people, fans of Kelvin, to understand that, but it is the truth, though. He is undersized. He is a bit undersized for middleweight. You know what I mean? Yep. He's short. He's shorter than most of the middleweight guys, you know what I mean? He could have that ability, the ability to make it in the middleweight, but, you got to get your strength and conditioning on point. You got to get your mental game on point as well. And, he's been 1-4 in his last 5 fights, only winning, I think, if I remember correctly, against Ian Heinich, pulling out that wrestling pedigree of his. His wrestling is pretty damn strong. In this fight here, he's going to have to size up Jared Cannonier. He's going to have to get into the fire with Jared, though, a little bit to get that wrestling off. Will he have to absorb some shots, a shot or two, to get that wrestling off, to get inside? Yeah. Jared Cannonier has some pretty good takedown defense. I would say he did show it against Jack Hermanson, but Hermanson and those single legs just ticked me off.
They were terrible. They were the worst single legs ever.
I get so mad when he shoots for it's between him and Damian Maya on the single leg takedown thing. I get so frustrated about. I understand you have good jiu-jitsu, but when it comes to these strong dudes that, you know what I mean, it's tough as hell to take them down. You keep going for these single legs, like chill. But outside of that, Kelvin's gonna have to use this wrestling pedigree, and he has to have his cardio up to keep this wrestling going for possibly 5 rounds. Jared Cannonier is, you know what I mean, as I said, patient guy, picks and chooses his shots, selective on when to explode, kind of like a Yoel Romero type of fighter. Very calculated in his approach to things. You see, he lost to Robert Whitaker, but had Robert Whitaker rocked in the 3rd round of that fight. Yeah. You know what I mean? So he's still kind of dangerous. We never seen him past the 3rd round, so this is going to be interesting if it gets past the 3rd round. We seen Kelvin fight Izzy. in the 5-rounder. You know what I mean? And he went against Robert Whitaker for 5 rounds. That was ugly though. But still, I think Kelvin's path to victory is definitely gonna rely on his wrestling and how fast he throws those hands. If he could set up the combination, to end off with that left hand of his, that piston straight left hand of his, I think he might get it in the bag, man.
Yeah.
But if he's not careful, this can end up ugly for him against Jared Cannonier, because Jared Cannonier throws kill shots, man. When he's there, he throws kill shots, and a couple of those things, man, it's lights out for Kelvin, and Kelvin needs this win.
Yeah, he needs it big time, and there's a lot of pressure on him, and so that's why I like Jared Cannonier in this fight. And so, with that said, I really appreciate you, Mr. B, being here with me and breaking down this week of MMA. I know there was a lot of stuff to go into PFL, Bellator, and UFC coming this weekend. So, with that said, I want to break down my bets for this weekend. The first bet that we have is Ramiz Brahimov. He is at negative 135, so $135 on Ramiz to win 100, so 1.35 units on him. And then my boy Vince from Hell Pichel, 805 OG. I'm putting down 2.2 units to win 200 on my boy Vince from Hell Pichel. So those will be the bets of the night. There'll be ×2 on Vince Pichel, ×1 on the money line for Ramiz. And with that said, man, I really can't thank you enough, Mr. B, the MMA guy, 1986 on Twitter, one of my good friends and guys that I've met here on the net that I just can't thank enough for being here. Really, with you guys, thank you guys for being here. There's 266 of you live. Thank you for supporting me and Mr. B and giving us all the awards and likes. And until next time, until next week, we'll be back, hopefully to cash those bets. So let's roll.